Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well and welcome to another Sunday with me. This is stage 5 of the design process and we are literally one video away from the big reveal. So if you do not know what I'm talking about right now, that must mean that you're new, so don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I highly recommend that you watch stages 1 to 4 so you can keep up to date and follow along with us, and then once you've done so, just come back onto this video. And I just want to say a big thank you to my loyal subscribers so far. I really appreciate all the comments and likes that you guys give my videos. It really goes a long way. Extremely excited to show you some vlogs which I have started putting together for you, so that's really exciting. I'm sure you guys will be extremely excited to be on site with me, so just stay tuned onto this channel. There's a lot more that I'll be sharing with you guys on my channel. So without further ado, let's begin with stage 5 of the design process. Stage 5, this is the construction phase, and it is a very exciting and fun stage to be on any project, but the most stressful phases in a project. A lot of problem solving happens on site. There are so many instances where unforeseen things happen and you have to think on your feet and come up with a solution. And if you aren't a problematic kind of solver, it's not the best place for you to be, I won't lie. It can be very stressful. Before I get into the ins and outs of this stage, let me just give you a quick breakdown of what that entails. So in stage 5, we will issue the contractor with all the construction drawings. So all the drawings that we had developed and detailed in stage 4 are now put into their construction phase. So these construction drawings are basically the final drawings that you're issuing to the contract to build from. Subcontractors' drawings are initiated and checked. Basically in this process, the subcontractor will produce what we call shop drawings, and us designers would have to okay them, check that they are in according to what we have designed and that we are basically happy with the level of detailing that they've gone into. And lastly, we will inspect all the works on site and check for conformity. Okay, just to reintroduce my dream room, which is the case study. Of course, I was in Cape Town at the time, so I did not do any site visits. Ordinarily on a project, we would do anything from a weekly site visit to a bi-weekly site visit, just depending on how big the site is. So because I wasn't at home, there were 0 site visits. I just had to rely on my mother, and she would just call me up if there were any issues that arose. However, since our subcontractors weren't willing to do the custom details that I had initially wanted them to do, it became a very simple and I don't want to say generic, but there were quite generic details used. So there weren't many phone calls back and forth between me and my mother. So they're basically left to their own devices. Okay, so now I'm just going to bring it back to normal projects that we deal with, like larger scales of renovations or new builds. As I've mentioned, in stage 4, we have detailed every single drawing, every single corner, nook and cranny you can find in a space. And so once we hit that stage 5 phase, it's simply just converting those drawings and making sure that everything is beautiful, everything complies. We have dotted our I's and basically crossed all our T's. So at stage 5, there's like no going back almost. I mean, there is a little bit of play with changing certain things. However, a lot of things have lead times. So it is very important before you start any project, once you've signed the contract with the contractor, to receive a program from your contractor so you know exactly what work will be done when, because this allows you a little bit of play and a bit of freedom for items that you may not be 100% sure of. So in the construction phase, you should always consider your lead times and the order in which the contractor is going to build. This will help avoid a lot of time delay if there are certain things that have extremely long lead times. Our subcontractors, which would be your joiners, your shop front fitters, so your aluminium doors and windows, they would have to go on site once it's in a state when they can. So if you're demolishing a lot of things, or if it's obviously a new build, you have to have all your walls in, you have to have all the parameters for those subcontractors in place so that they can take their final measurements. And once they've taken their final measurements, they are able to build whatever they need to build for your design. So typically on our site visits that happen either once a week or bi-weekly, we will meet with the contractor, and there will always be problems on site. So it will always be an exercise of exercising your brain and problem solving on the spot. But if there aren't any problems, which does happen quite often, we will mainly go there to check certain things. And it's very important to go to site to check your first fix points. I can't stress that enough, because if they get these points wrong, it does take a bit of time for them to fix them. And depending on when you figure out that there's a point missing or there's a point in the incorrect place, it could be a huge cost and time delay. So if they've already laid down the floors and you've realized that they haven't put a floor plug into the floor and it's a beautiful marble slab, yeah, you're kind of screwed. I'm joking, but yeah, you have to basically decide if you really need that floor plug or not. It can be very stressful. So it is very important to check all your first fix points. So when we're checking our first fix points, we're checking for quite a few things. We're checking for, one, if those points are actually all there. Two, if the points align. So typically on a wall, we have a light switch and a wall plug. We'll check if those two elements are aligned, because symmetry is king. We'll also check the heights of all our first fix to make sure that it sits in the right place. So for instance, if you have a joinery element that actually houses these plug points, you need to make sure that it works with the joinery that you have drawn up. We also check if things are built straight. So especially our ceilings, we'll check if our ceilings, they're not bowing or anything, they're not at weird angles. We will also check the setting out of all our light points before they actually put the fittings in. So typically we will instruct our contractor to mark out with a pencil where all the light fittings are, and we will walk through the space and make sure that everything's aligning, like our downlights are aligning with the center of our doors, for instance, or any openings. It's just a good exercise to do before they cut holes into your ceiling to prevent any patching up of the ceiling later. Another thing we check, which I've actually been involved in doing so many times, are our tile setting out. I remember on this one project, which was 7 apartments, I think on 7 floors, I had to check each apartment level, which had about, on average, 3 to 4 bathrooms. I had to go every single morning around 7:30 and check that the tiles were perfectly set out. They were lining up with the correct things, because like I've mentioned before, your eyes just pick up when things are misaligned and it just feels off in the space. So I had the daunting task of making sure that everything was lining up with everything, and whatever lines we chose were the correct lines to choose, because they were putting in large format tiles and they were very expensive. They were from Italy, and yeah, you just don't want to screw up on a project like that. So it is extremely important to do all those checks when you're on site. I mean, there are many more other checks. Those are a few of the checks that we do on site, on top of like our other site meetings that we will have with like engineers and the contractor. It's also very important to document this process while you're on site in the form of minutes of the meeting and as well as photos. Once the site is complete, we will come back and do a snagging exercise, and we'll compile a snag list or a list of defects for the contractor to fix. We basically hand him over a fat document with lots of images and descriptions as to what he needs to fix, and he has to come back to us and let us know how long it will take. And once he has completed the snag list, we come back for a de-snag to make sure that he has ticked off everything that's on our list and we are happy with the quality. And once we're happy with the quality, the site is done. So that basically covers everything in stage 5. I hope I haven't missed anything. It's really important to just go on those regular site meetings and check up on every single thing before they finish. And it's such a, like I keep saying, it's such a fun but very stressful phase in the design process, but it's super rewarding seeing your details being implemented and your design coming up and looking so beautiful. So I'm excited to show you guys in my next few videos the outcome of my bedroom and the case study that you guys have been following along for quite a few weeks. So I think I'm just going to end the video off there. I hope you guys enjoyed that little segment of stage 5, and I hope it made a lot of sense. Please don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up, and if you're new, definitely subscribe. There are so many more things I want to show you guys in my industry, and I hope you guys keep safe and well, and I'll see you next week. Bye.